We're going to go ahead and get ready. There might be some questions and answers. If anybody has any questions and answers, I do have a question. I don't know if anybody knows the answer to is the net neutrality. I do not understand is what happened with the net neutrality. Did they wipe it out now? So it's back the way it was?
Ira?
Yeah, sorry.
5 years ago they put in net neutrality. It's under the control of FCC, and the guy that the president put in canceled it, got rid of it. The Senate voted to put it back, but the House just left it alone so it could die an easy death. So it's back to what it was 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
Now they claim that, well, back then it wasn't too bad, but that was back then. And so now your internet providers and your cable companies have no restrictions on how they assign who gets fast internet, who has to pay for more fast internet.
So we would have liked to have had it
Kept?
kept, and they decided to get rid of it now.
The commissioner had the thing to get rid of it, and so he did, and the Senate put in part of the bill to, put it back, but the House wouldn't deal with it.
Okay, so
It's gone, so now you could find your cable provider could charge you extras on your internet service for extra services. Your cable people can charge now extras for specific channels
and they throttle you back.
yes.
And then once you complain or whatever, they say, oh, here, we'll give you more speed for this amount of money.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, so it's sort of up to us what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're at the mercy of cable and internet providers for whatever they want to do. And that's going to hurt those people last week or last month when Stacy did her presentation and talked about how, she can not use Time Warner's TV, but she uses the internet to get to Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they can put a surcharge on her to be able to access Netflix on top of what she's paying Netflix for their services.
That's how they roll.
Okay. So, does everybody understand it now? I'm a little more clear about it now. I wasn't sure.
It's hard to understand, but it's a bad thing that went away.
Yeah, it's a bad thing that happened. Okay.
My computer sees it, but it doesn't sound.
That's what?
My
Why don't you
screen
put an
got
antenna
red,
just
so
by
there we go.
Okay.
Or they put a surcharge on the box.
Well, we had a new member step up and say he could do a presentation for us. His name's Kenneth Toubeau.
Two-ball.
Jamal. French.
He said he did a presentation a few weeks ago on passwords, and of course that might be interesting for us and better than net neutrality. I think.
Passwords.
Passwords.
We was talking about that.
So I'll let you talk about yourself because I don't know you.
Does he have a pointer?
I don't. That would be helpful, actually.
You got laser.
Can you read this okay? I can't make it bigger.
Yes.
Can you see it?
That's because you're using a Mac.
That's right. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. Watch this. Is
Oh.
that better?
Yeah.
Now I can see that.
Oh, now I lost my cursor.
Is this your subject?
There you go.
He's coming with a laser. Kenneth,
There you
There we
go.
go.
is this your subject security starts with strong passwords?
What's that?
Passwords.
She's the secretary. She's going to name you a president.
So, about 8 months ago, in Kentucky, I just moved back here. I was born here. I did a presentation on managing passwords. I don't remember what I called it.
I'll call it that.
Password management, I guess. Yeah. So it's been a while, and I'm going to be rusty. And I thought, well, I already have it done, so I could probably wing it. So forgive me for winging it, but,
Oh, no.
We're loving you for doing it.
well, I mean, it's better than sitting here and talking about whatever, right?
Well, I'm interested.
Well, good. Do I have a whiteboard that I can use? I might use that. If not, it's okay. Okay. Is it
My
movable?
God.
Okay.
Kenneth.
So, I'm asking for the world, right?
No, I'm looking at this, the bottom page, the bottom
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Do you know
Ignore
all
that.
that? Do you know everything?
Yes, I use most of that, but some of it's just still there because,
That's kind of typical of an outfit.
yeah, I need to clean it up a
There'll
little
be
bit.
no questions on that.
No questions on my desktop. No comments on the disorganization. Actually, it's not that bad. I got rid of a lot of stuff. I don't like storing stuff on the desktop, so that's all I have. And most of it's Linux things that I've been trying to learn, so, you know. But I was SIG leader in Kentucky. I led the Android SIG, and here, when I lived in Columbus, I led the Apple Mac SIG for the Columbus Computer Society, and the Windows SIG, which my Windows skills are not like they used to be, but I can still find my way around. So, learning Linux now, I'm big on networking. That's kind of what I do. I own my own consulting business, IT consulting business, so anybody who needs work, look at me. I can help you out probably. If I can't figure it out, I'll find somebody who can. But this presentation seemed to be pretty useful. Let me ask you guys. Is that better?
No.
It's blocking you? Okay. I can bring it over here. Get it out of the way.
Good luck, Rick, Francis shooting.
So let me ask you guys this question. How many have used the password before in anything? Not everybody?
We use it,
Seriously?
we have to use
Okay.
password on Linux.
How many of you use the same password over and over and over? Don't admit to that. I don't need to know. I know. I get it. So,
Well, doesn't that make it easy?
well, yes, of course it does. Of course it does. So, we're presented with all these different places we go. Amazon and, eBay and Facebook and, you get there and it says, what's your personal information? Oh, and by the way, give me a password. And you say, okay, monkey123. I think that's still the most popular password out there, so never, ever, ever use that, please.
Really?
I see some faces already, so we might be using that. Please change that as soon as possible. So, monkey123, anything with a combination of words that you can actually find out in the dictionary is a bad idea. Even if you think you're slick, like one time I came up with a password. I'm a musician, so, hey, I could put something of music in there. So how do we make it interesting? We might do a capital M, and then we don't want to do U. We're going to get super fancy, and we're going to get kind of tricky here. Maybe I'll do parentheses backwards instead of like this. That kind of looks like a U, right?
Okay.
Sort of, right? How about the S? We'll just make it a dollar sign. This is getting good, right?
Right, well,
Oh, we need a number. It always tells us we need a number, so I'll just make the I a C, or I'm sorry, an I a 1, and then, well, we'll do a little c because we have to have lowercase and uppercase, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 2 more.
Right.
What else could I put in there to make it interesting? A date I remember. Oh, my son, I don't have a son. My son was born in 2009, so I'm real smart. I'll put that down because nobody will guess that I have a son that was born in 2009. This is a terrible password, by the way.
you know
It's
something?
not good.
Well, I'll wait till you're finished.
No, you go ahead.
I read the paper, it hadn't been too long ago, where the guy said to use stuff like that.
Nope. Nope. Used to be a good idea.
Yeah.
The rules have changed.
Okay.
The government came up with rules where they said, tell me if you've heard this one before, hey, you need to change your password every 90 days. Okay. Well, I can't remember my password as it is, so I'll just go 10. Oh, I gotta change it in 90 days again. Okay. 11. No pattern, just, something I can remember. So these are not good passwords, but what do you do to make a good password? Well, it's easy. You pick as many characters as you could possibly put in there, as many as it'll allow you. 64 characters, let's say. Make them random. We need a capital letter. We need a lowercase letter. We need numbers. We need symbols. We need all this junk. And it has to be randomized. So does your brain work like that?
No.
Can anyone come up with a 64 character password that's random that has all that junk in it?
Yeah.
You can?
Can't remember.
You can't remember it, right? Exactly. So a good password is something that we wouldn't think of. We're very good as humans finding patterns and stuff. We look at the clouds and we see animals and we see all these different things, you know. That's the problem, is that even though when we think we're being random, we're still making some sort of pattern. So, what do? Well, there's password generators out there. Anyone ever use one?
I never have.
So you can download them, they're free. And that's fine. I'm just going to open up my password manager here for a moment. Just going to create a new login, just so I can show you what a password generator would look like. I don't know what it's asking for. Okay. So new login. This, I know is hard to see. Where's that laser pointer? Okay, that right there?
That's a password.
That's a great password. It's
Mine,
random.
that one on the top?
Yeah, right there.
That big long one?
That's
Yeah,
got
right there.
36 characters.
Okay. Who the heck wants to type that every time they go to Facebook?
My God, that'd be good.
So the other thing is I can't remember it, so what do you do with it?
Only that, I'd probably skip a letter.
You probably would. By the way, I've tried to type these and I say forget it and I reset it to make it shorter, then reset it, make it longer again. Aside from that, I don't want to, what do? Do I copy this into, oh, I got it. I'll use Excel, because nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever used an Excel document and put their passwords and saved it as passwords, right? Yes, sir.
Go in there and chop out 8 of them and use it.
Chop out 8 of them? That would still work, yeah.
Any 8.
Mm-hmm. Any 8, doesn't matter. But using Excel as a password manager is a good stepping stone, but it's not something you really want to do. Because if somebody's in your computer, they're going to look for stuff that has the word password in it. Even if you think you're smart and you name it naughty stuff, don't look. Well, that probably makes them want to look even more. But, you know, or something else, you're not doing yourself any favors. Now, what I started doing is I was in the same boat. I would use the same passwords over and over and over again. But I eventually realized that was silly because, oh, look, my bank account got hacked. Didn't really happen. My bank account, oh, my Facebook. Oh, how many have Yahoo accounts in here?
Oh yeah, I got hacked.
Did you know you got hacked?
Yes, I did.
Did you change your passwords?
I
Please.
changed mine. I changed mine to where they send me a text. And that's how I changed mine. They send me a text and send me a group of letters and symbols I have to type back.
Yep, exactly. Did you change it a second time when they got hit again?
I never got hit again.
Oh, they got hit again. It was twice.
Right, but I never got
Or they didn't tell us. I can't remember what the rules were now. Hey, we got hacked 3 years ago. You might want to change your password. I think it's a little too late after 3 years. They probably got everything they needed, right? Yes, ma'am.
How many letters or items can you use in one password?
Like how many individual?
Used to be 8 was all that out.
Well, that's a good question. It depends on the website. So I bank with Chase. And Chase doesn't allow me to have it longer than so many characters. I think it's like 21 or 16, not very big at all. So the answer is, it depends. It depends on who you're giving the password to. As a matter of fact, when you generate the password, you might even want to go back and count it to make sure it took. Because you might type in 64, or rather paste 64 in, but then you go back and you only delete 13. Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to get into that account. I'm getting a little ahead of myself there, but it kind of depends on the website.
That's what went into Thunderbird the other day that had 12 characters. They refused it until I narrowed it down to 8.
So they probably restrict. That's really terrible. 8-character password is not very good. Hopefully you made it random though and not something that you know, but 8's not a very strong password. I took over IT services at my old church. I was the IT director, and they said, well, I don't want to make a password very long. What can I do? How long can I make it? I said, okay, do me a favor. There's 12 disciples. At least make it 12 characters long. So kind of my rule of thumb for them was 12 is the minimum. It was an easy number. That's really not necessarily the best recommendation for everybody, but you really need to make it as long as possible. And I'm probably freaking you out saying that, because you're going, well, if I make it too long, how am I going to get back into the account, right? Well, that's where the password manager comes into play. The password manager remembers it. I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. No, don't remember. For lunch, I had Rusty's fish out in Patasko. That's about as good as I get. You go back one day, I'm forgetting, so I let the password manager remember everything for me, including the login. So maybe I don't use my first initial last name. Maybe I use something crazy that doesn't really matter what I use because I let the password manager remember it. What about the website? I put the web address in there. www.amazon.com. I know I can remember that, but just to be safe. It's basically a database. And in the database it has a form. This is actually the form. I started creating it right here for different information you could put in. Security questions. Those are things we have to remember. Hey, what was your best friend in high school? And okay, you might remember that, but don't you think somebody could guess it? I'm going to show you a way to create some crazy stuff that won't matter what the answer is because you're still going to remember the password manager. So does this kind of make a little sense where we're headed with the password manager?
Yes.
The foundation is it's a storage space. It's a database for all this information that's really hard to remember, that we want to be really secure. So let something else remember it. Yes?
What is this password manager you're talking about? Is the formal name of it password manager?
The generic name is password manager, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about 3 different ones, and actually, John, you have one I'm going to ask about if you remember the name of it later. There's 4 that I'm going to mention. The thing about password managers, there's going to be this learning curve. I went through it. You're going to be frustrated saying, I don't get it. You just need to stick to it. It's like learning how to read and write and doing math. As long as you keep practicing it, it starts to become more natural. So I don't blame you if you try it and you fail. I don't even blame you if you try one of these and you say, well, Kenneth likes this one, but I don't really like it. It doesn't make sense to me. I tried LastPass and I got confused. I thought it was a little too much. Then I tried 1Password and I dug in. So maybe LastPass is easier, but it's just the one I finally sat down and went, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to do this correctly. So I'm going to give you options. And I really do want you to go out and download different applications and see. Now, you'll have to manage them until you decide which one you want, but play with it for a while. So password manager is a generic term. Yes, ma'am.
Has any of these password managers ever been hacked?
Not the ones I'm going to mention.
Okay.
LastPass is probably the most secure one. Does anybody know Steve Gibson from Security Now?
Yeah.
This Week in Tech? Yeah, I heard a yes. So Steve Gibson is like a security guru. He's really smart, way beyond me. And he audited LastPass because they let him see the code behind it so he could see if he could break it. And he said, nope, this is pretty good. So that's what he uses. It's not the one I use, but it's the one he uses. So none that I'm going to show you. But there was a password manager, I can't even remember the name of it. They were using random passwords. They weren't. They were generating a pattern, and then they repeated. Whoever thought that was a good idea, I don't know why. I don't think they exist anymore, so we're probably okay there. But did you have any question? I'm sorry.
No, I'm listening to you, buddy. This is interesting.
Okay. So let's talk about the individual password managers. And this is where you're going to probably want to write this down, because I really do want you to try different ones. Some are paid, some are free, some are more expensive, some are fairly affordable.
Well,
I use 1Password, and it is not O-N-E. It is the numerical 1 password. Where is it? On their web. Oh, here we go. Make this a little bigger. It's spelled like this. So right there. I probably made it worse by highlighting it.
iPassword?
1Password.
1Password.
Numerical 1. This is the one I use. I'm not saying it's the best. I think LastPass is probably the best.
Is it free?
It was. Well, okay. At one point, you had to pay for the license once. So I paid for it on my Mac, I paid for it on Windows, I paid for it on iOS and Android. So 4 different platforms, I paid for it, I own it. I don't pay anything now. They switched to the same model that LastPass uses. It's a monthly fee. You can still try it for free, but they do have limitations in there. So how much is it? Where is my cursor? My screen over here is so small I can barely see anything, so bear with me when I'm looking for stuff. It's a very expensive $2.99 per month. So there's a cup of coffee at Starbucks or your favorite place that you have to give up once a month to afford. It's really not that bad. If you have a family, this is actually a pretty good idea if you're sharing passwords. Me and my spouse have accounts like our gas bill and the cable bill and things like that where, what's that password again? So I have to send it, and then if you're sending it in the clear, you're kind of defeating the purpose of the password manager. If you do this family account, you can actually share between each other. There's even corporate accounts if you own your own business or you're in a company where they need to do something like this. They have different options for that. But look, here's key. Try it free for 30 days. So try it. If you don't like it, move on. It's not the prettiest interface. LastPass actually looks better. But there you go. So 1Password, that's the first one. Second one I just downloaded and don't know much about, but started learning a little bit about, is called NPass. And it's spelled, I lost the button, right there. E-N-P-A-S-S. This one is, I believe, the one that's free. I might be getting this mixed up. I've been testing a few of them. Yeah, okay, so on the desktop, it's the very expensive price of $0, and you can try it on mobile. If you only use a computer, laptop or desktop, you never pay anything. If you want it to sync, which I do, because I have a smartphone, I have a tablet, actually I have a couple of smartphones, and I have a laptop and a desktop, so I need them to sync, so I have paid for multiple versions. I don't know what their pro difference is. I guess I'd have to look in this more. This is one I haven't been using. I've just been trying it for free on the desktop. So here's a good one, maybe even get started with. I can tell you this much. Some of the stuff I'm going to show you, this won't do. It's more basic. It's kind of like the Excel thing. It does generate the password for you, but then for the security questions, I've got a really cool trick I'm going to show you with that. It doesn't do that. So it's not as full-featured, but it's a good option. And then the last one, well, I guess there's 4. The third one is LastPass. It is the most popular by far. It's the one that Steve Gibson uses, and it's secure. They do a good job of actually buttoning up all their security issues. There's a gentleman, I don't remember his name, but he's a big security guy. There's a story, he was in the shower and he thought of some exploit to break this, so he sent a tweet to the guy who owns LastPass and said, hey, this might work, found out it did, and they patched it within days. So there's people looking at this trying to help them make it better and better. So there's 3 options. What's the 4th one, John?
KeePass X or Bitwarden.
4 and 5. KeePass X.
Or KeePass for Windows.
Okay. Do you know the website for that? Or can you spell it for me?
KeePass.
Okay. So there you go. There's the website. Is this it? I assume. Is that the correct one?
Ken says yes.
Yes, okay. What was the other one?
KeePassX.
Sorry.
The Linux version is KeePass X.
Oh, okay. So if you're using Linux, KeePass X, and that was the 5th thing you were mentioning there, wasn't it?
Bitwarden.
Bitwarden, okay.
Bitwarden.
Bitwarden. So now you have 5 options. Probably too much. Start where it makes sense. Here's what I would do. Look at all the platforms and look at which ones work across what you use. What do you have? Take an inventory. Oh, I have a Windows PC. Oh, but I have an iPhone. Or I have a Samsung Android phone. Or I have something else. So find the one that works. Think about, well, I'm going to switch from my Android or my iOS device to the other. Okay, well now I need 3 of those options. And 1Password does that for sure. LastPass does as well. I don't know if KeePass does. I'll have to dig into it a little bit. That's new to me. Yes.
Yeah, does LastPass, I didn't know that, does LastPass generate a password?
Yep, they all should. If they don't use that password manager. It's not a good option. Because if you're thinking of the passwords, what's the point? Okay. Before I move on and show you one of them, do you have any questions?
In order to access your manager, you're going to have a password.
Yes.
And where are you going to store that password?
Well, ideally here.
Okay.
But I'm being realistic. Monkey 1, 2, 3.
No.
And I'll tell you what I did.
Is it 12 or 24?
Okay, me being realistic. Mine is 10 for my master password. What I did is
Did you write it down somewhere so you could find it?
No, I did not. I did not. But I went into a password, and that's okay to do that temporarily. So if you want to put it on a piece of note paper temporarily, until you don't lose it, or put it in a safe deposit box where you can get it if you really forget. That's okay. I went to a password generator, which I believe Steve Gibson had one I used on grc.com. That's a great website. Very basic, but there's a lot of good security information, grc.com. So I think he has a password generator on there if you want to play with it, grc.com. I went there, I said, give me 10, give me a capital, a lower, a number, and a symbol. And it did, and I go, nope, nope, nope. Ooh, that kind of looks like a pattern, how our brains work. It looked kind of like a word to me. It was totally random, but it was easy enough for me. I thought I could remember it. So I think I did write it down. This has been years ago, so I may have written it down initially. So I wrote, let's say we write it down, and then eventually I went, okay, I got it. I've got the pattern down. So that one master password is what I'm using, and that's the only one I have to remember. It has nothing to do with me. Yes, sir?
You're young, Kenneth.
Yes.
You'll find out in a few years that your brain's not going to remember things.
Yes, I was going to say that, but I didn't.
Yep. So I've heard.
And then, as Gordon will say,
He's getting old.
Yes, Dan.
I think one idea would be to write down your password on a little piece of paper. Don't put the word password on it anywhere to indicate that you're recording the password on the piece of paper. What I would do is put it in my wallet, and it's just a piece of paper with some
Random gibberish on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody saw it, I don't think they'd know what it was.
That's a good, actually a good idea.
Yeah, we can.
Mhm.
Why couldn't you use a passphrase?
Because it
I've got
has
to
words in it.
Huh?
Because it contains words that can be dictionary search. Computers are so fast now that it already has a dictionary in it, and it can scan it real quick in any number of orders and get it right. If you use a passphrase, I'll show you. What he means by passphrase is, oh, gotta log in again. That's a security feature. Okay, where did that guy go? So we'll create a new one. And in here, and this is hard to read. Words. Okay. So this, I know it's really hard to read. It doesn't really matter what the words are, but these are 3 words that are generated. I can make them more. I can make them up to 10. So even though these are 10 independent words with spaces in it, it's not a good password. But there is a use for this. It's just not a good password. It's dictionary searchable. So realistically, it sounds like you need to write it down somewhere. Well, be smart about it. Put it somewhere where it, definitely don't write password on it. That doesn't make any sense. But somewhere you would remember it. Maybe I should start thinking about that, writing it down in case I do forget it, you know. I could be in an accident and then, you know, lose some of my memory and then, oh, guess what? Can't get into my accounts to pay anything. So it's actually a really good point.
You don't have to be an accident.
Just get older, right? A little bit
I would
older.
think if you use it in the LastPass or whatever generator every day, you would not forget your password.
Most likely, yeah. Well, here's another idea. I just thought of this. and I don't know about Android, but on iOS, in Notes, you can create a secure note, but I think it requires a password for that. Yes?
Kenneth, our people are lazy because I know them well enough, because in LastPass, you could tell it to remember the password.
The master? Oh, ooh. I would not tell it to ever remember your master password. I know it's easy, but you might even be tempted to. How many use a web browser and you log in and it says, hey, do you want me to remember this for you? And you say, yes!
No.
That would be great!
No.
The answer is no, you don't want to do that. And you can delete those passwords, but it's convenient, and we do that because we created these super secret passwords, right? Probably not. But we create these super secret passwords that we don't want to enter all the time. I wouldn't suggest doing that either. Please don't have it remember your master password.
Yeah, another thing about your web browser, you can set it up so that it deletes all your history when you get off that browser in the settings, so that the only time even if it does remember it, as soon as you close out that browser, it dumps everything.
But does it dump the passwords?
Yeah, you can tell it to dump passwords and everything. You have to look at the list of stuff that it'll delete or remove or whatever. And I'm pretty sure one of the things is, I don't remember what they call it, but it has to do with your passwords and login information.
Yeah. So your username along with the password.
Yeah.
It deletes both.
Well, yeah, I think it'll clear everything. So, like, even if you do, say, remember, if you have it delete, there's that setting along with the clear history kind of are interactive. I will go in and look and see what, I never have it remember anyway.
Yeah.
But even if you do put something in there, it's still in the cookies, or it's still in the temporary internet files as your password. But as soon as you close the browser, all that stuff is clear. Cookies and the history and everything.
And we can avoid that if we have help. Right now our help is our browser trying to be helpful, saying, you want me to remember this, and of course that's convenient. But I'm going to show you a different way. It's, okay, I need to get to downtown Newark. I can either go this way, or this way. Well, I've been going this way all my life. So forget that way. I'm going to show you how to go this way. It's just a little bit longer, but it's still going to get you there. So I would not save your password. If you have, this is a great idea. Go in and we'll write down the passwords first, because who knows if you remember. Get rid of the passwords out of your browser, because they're very easy to get into. Yes, David?
Okay. Are there any, would you say there are any exceptions to that rule? Because, for example, I belong to numerous forums.
Mm-hmm.
Now those, I do have the browser remembering those passwords. Those accounts contain no financial information.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they contain really is just my username and password. There's really nothing else in that account that's saved by the website. So could we say that's an exception to this rule?
I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
Yes. No. Yes. Yes, you can make an exception to anything. Okay. So I'm going to give you a really bad example here. There is a WordPress website. Does anybody know what WordPress is? It's a back-end management for web. It's what makes the websites look pretty. It's very common. Most websites use it nowadays.
If you've ever looked at our website, you've seen it, but
there you go. So we run WordPress. Well, I was getting into this site so often that I said, okay, just go ahead and remember it for now. But I eventually did delete it. The best practice is no, you don't want to do that. I get where you're coming from, but it's still an account that can be compromised. The password manager makes it easy enough that you really don't have to worry about it. So let me show you to address that question. Someone give me a website that I've got quite a few. Let me show you here. I think I have 636 passwords. 683 passwords. I'll get to you in just a second. I have 683 passwords. Okay? I can't remember all those. let me show you how to make it pretty easy, and I'll answer your question first. What was your question?
Oh, why couldn't we use the first letter of a sentence that is 8 words long? Or
Like a
something?
poem or something?
For instance, why would I want to go to a concert with Bob? Change the I to a 1, make a question mark as your, how would they figure that out?
Our brains work in patterns. Our brains work slower than computers. It may not, but you're giving it a pattern, a good starting point, that it could be easier to crack. They may never crack something like that. I've heard people say, my favorite poem from Edgar Allan Poe, I use the first letter from every word going backwards. Okay, well that's great, but that's kind of hard to remember anyways, but it's still a pattern of some sort.
When I was young, my best friend when I was young was Betty. First one of every one of those, change one of them, change an E in it to a 3, or change an I in it to a 1.
Because computers are so fast that they'll be able to figure it out at some point if it's not randomized. They may not, but
So you're saying
they're
that
fast.
you're saying that it would never give me a random like this?
Probably not. Well, it's not looking for patterns. So
But that's
anybody who,
understandable. But
Yeah.
let's say this isn't a pattern. You're saying that one of these would not give me this?
well, no, probably not. I mean, it could. The thing is, a computer program is going back and saying, I don't know anything at all. Just give me random junk. And programs that are written better will take things like, this is getting into encryption. When you encrypt things on a computer and you're doing it live from this computer, a lot of times that program will say, hey, do this, but then look where the mouse position is, and look at the brightness of the display, and look at the operating system, and look at all these different elements that can be unique, and make that a part of the encryption. So your operating system, your brightness level, and things like that will be a little different than mine. So it takes this randomization and then adds more on top of it. Have you guys ever heard of salting when you do encryption? So it encrypts it and then it salts it. It's when it's pulling in random elements from it. So not knowing that much about how the back end works, but knowing that I trust Steve Gibson, that's still a pattern of sorts. I don't see why it would give you something like that, because you're using letters but you're changing random characters. Best practice, don't try to figure it out. Just let a computer program that thinks faster than we do figure it out. And I know that's not quite the answer you're looking for.
No, I'm just
but-
saying that would be the easiest way for me to remember my password without
Yeah.
having to write it down.
Well, maybe your master password, maybe,
That's something.
maybe. It's not the most ideal, but it's not bad. I mean, how many people know that single poem from Edgar Allan Poe or whoever backwards? I mean, it is unlikely. But we're not talking about people, we're talking about computers that's figuring it out. Yes, sir.
What you might be running into here is, like in the middle 60s, when they first came out with seat belts and shoulder straps, people fought it, didn't want to wear it.
Sure.
Now we do, and it's no big deal.
Sure.
So get with it, people. Use your digital memory and remember one password.
Trust the car to hold you back.
Yeah, don't
Right,
fight
yeah.
this. Go with it.
But in all fairness, who the heck wants to learn another program? I mean, I like learning stuff, yes, but every day I don't want to learn something new or something oh, I know how to cook that. Why do I have to add this ingredient to it? But it works this way. Just leave it alone, right? Well, that's a valid point. But yeah, you're right. Things change, technology changes. We realize, oops, we thought we're the only planet in the universe, and then all of a sudden we start figuring out, oh, guess what? There's other stars and planets around those stars. Whoops, we didn't know that. The more information we learn, the more difficult it gets. Yes?
If I have 50 passwords for 50 different accounts, and if I decide to put it in a password manager, do I have to put all them 50, starting out, put those 50 accounts in that password manager in order for that
It would make it
manager?
easier in the long run for you.
Okay. Or at least the ones that I use most often to start
Yeah.
with those 6 or 7.
And then what I would do is I'd go in and change them to something randomly generated. But what did I do? Again, it was a while ago. I went in and said, okay, I have a Hotmail account. This is the email address. This is what the password is. Next, I have a Gmail account. Here's the username. Here's the password. I have this, I have this, I have this, Facebook, whatever. Once I got to that point, I went and I clicked a button. It logged me in with that username and password. It's really as simple as clicking. I'll show you that in a second. So you click it, puts in your username, puts your password, and I go change password, and I copied the old one, put in the old, and then I went generate a new. I actually did one other thing. This might be getting too deep. There's a notes section in here that lets you put any random text, and in that, because I was so freaked out that I'd get logged out of my account, I would put my old password in there. What did I say, 09? So I'd say something like that, old password. Then I say, okay, generate the new one, I don't care what it is, and then I could copy the old one and reset it as much as I want. So yeah, I think get them all in there first before you start changing them, but then once you get them in, start changing them, make them random. Are you guys ready to see how it works?
Yes.
'Cause that's the meat and potatoes, right? Okay.
And what manager are you using to show us?
I'm going to use 1Password because I know it. So I could try using one of the other ones, but we
I
might be
started
off.
with Keeper. Is Keeper any good?
Keeper has been around for a little bit, but I've never seen it on like the recommended list. 1Password is one that's been on there. LastPass, KeePass, I've heard of that one before. And actually, to be fair, InPass is one that I've just started hearing about. So Keeper may be just as good as InPass. I don't even know if InPass is as good as the other ones.
Well,
It's
my
just
family
great.
uses LastPass and has for years, and they highly recommend it.
There you go. LastPass is a great password manager. I just didn't like the interface. So I said, nope, don't want to do it. Here's that other one I had.
This sounds like a wintertime task.
What's that?
This sounds like a wintertime task.
Yes, yes. Okay, somebody give me a website of something they log into that's not common. I don't need Facebook or Amazon. Something that you go to where I can register. I can probably find something. Yes, David?
doityourself.com.
Doityourself.com?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are. We're looking at this great website. It's all about doing it yourself, I assume, right? Okay. And, oh, we have to log in.
Also, that's master password.
What's that?
That's your master password, right?
Do it yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I use. Write that down so you can get all my passwords. No, bad password. So here, you'll get on the website and eventually find a spot where it'll stop you. So I don't have this is a great website. I don't have a login for this. So I'm going to sign up. And what would we normally do? Okay.
Oh, yeah, all that stuff.
Right? So I'm actually going to give it I have a whole domain name that I own.
Will it let you copy and paste from the
Yep.
Excel spreadsheet?
Yep, it will. So we need a username. I mean, I could use my first initial last name, that's fine, but I need a password. So I could do this one of two ways. Let me see if it's even on here.
Are we doing InPass or LastPass?
We're doing 1Password. Numerical 1
The
password.
first one you mentioned?
Yes.
The $10, no, that's free. No, $3 a month?
Yeah, $2.99, $3, something like that.
That's what this one is?
That's correct, yep. Yep. But this works very similar to the way the other ones will work. So here's one way to do it. I go up here in my toolbar and I've installed a plugin to my browser, your favorite browser. It works for Firefox and Chrome, Edge probably. Whatever browser you're using, make sure your password manager supports that too. So that's another thing. Up here I can say, hey, go ahead and generate a password for me and fill it in. So that's one way to do it.
Oh, so you just...
Done.
So that's that easy?
Done.
Oh.
Where did you go?
Up
Put your
there,
cursor
right
up
here.
there.
right over there.
And well now I don't have it. Oh wait, it's right there.
That's your
Went to
one pass icon.
Generate password, I keep forgetting. Generate password. Now if I already have a password for it, it'll show up at the top.
That icon up there, is that the name of your...
Yep, this icon, I just can't really see it. this icon right here
Uh-huh.
is 1Password.
Yes.
Looks the same as this one over here. So I just click that. I already entered my master password, so I didn't have to. It times out, but if I haven't done it in a while, it's going to ask you one more step. What's your master password? And hopefully it's a good one. You type it, it opens up and says, oh, I already got a login for that. Great, you don't need to do anything. Or go to password generator and autofill. I just autofilled. I'm going to keep continuing filling out this form. What country do I live in? Who knows? What's your occupation? None of your business. Spell none correctly. What are you, male or female? I'm a female today, why not? Okay. Pacific time, that's not what I want. I want Eastern. Daylight savings time, automatic. And guess what? I'm not a robot. Oh, I hate this. Okay. I don't know if it wants the bars. Is that a street sign? Well, maybe. Okay, let's do the bars.
And this one I don't like either.
Oh, there's a street sign. I'm just going to do the street sign on this one. Oh, it's never going to work.
Yeah. You're like me, I did that about 3 or 4 times.
And then it'll fail. Oops.
Stop.
Okay.
Don't do the poll.
Let's do. Give me roads. Okay, roads. And keep going until there are none. Okay, got it. There's another road. That's kind of a road. That's a road. This is silly. Oh, that wasn't a road. I got click happy. Okay. Yes, I'm not a robot. Good to know. Okay. I do not want to receive your emails. I do not want to receive any of that. And I guess I have to agree I don't have a choice. So complete registration. Do you want to save this? Yes, I do. Thank you very much. So once you fill out the form, it probably already saved it. I shouldn't have run through that so quick. My apologies. We'll do another one. Once you've done it, it usually automatically saves it. But just to be safe, I said, yes, go ahead and save it again. I can find the duplicate and delete it. It's no big deal. We're going to do that in a second. So, easy? Hard?
That wasn't too bad.
Not too bad? Again, we're not going this way to Newark downtown. We're going this way. Just a little bit different. New little pack. Okay. I have to verify it before I can log in. We're not going to do that, but...
Those icons that you have, like 1Password, do you have to install that somehow?
I did.
On the computer?
Yep, I did. And I went to their website. I guess. Or south. Oh, whoops. All items. Do it yourself. So it only saved it once, which is good. So there's my login. You put the website in. I know it's small, I'm so sorry. You put the website in. You put the username in. You put the password in. It's all there. And what's the password? Who cares? But if you really do want to see it, there it is.
Oh my gosh.
What do I care what, don't write that down. What do I care what the password is? I don't have to enter it.
But you have to go back to the web manager, password manager, in order to log into that site. You can't just
You can.
go in, do it yourself.
You can go to the password manager or you can go to the site itself.
Okay.
Either way.
And when you go to sign in, it will automatically generate
Let
that.
me verify it and I'll show you. I have to verify the email they sent me. If I did it quick enough, we'll see.
They allow you so many minutes, don't they?
Yeah, they usually say, oh, here it is, that's pretty quick. Action required to complete, click that. Hopefully, well, if it asks me to log in, I'll just use the password manager on here, right? Okay, my account is activated. So, let's do this a different way. Oops, what was that website again? I don't remember. If I go to my password manager and I remember something about it, it was something about projects, doing things yourself. Okay, well there it is. So I've now found the password inside my password manager. This application is the password manager. There's the web. Here's all the information. All I have to do from here is, well, just click. It's kind of like going to Google and searching for it, and then you find the site you want, And you click that, well, I just found it in my password manager. Now I need to log in, so where do I go? Help me out here. Where do I log in?
Icon up there, little icon.
Oh, right there, okay, so little head and shoulders.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm already logged in. Let's log out. Okay, so I go here, I click login. Now what do I do? Uh-oh. What do you think I do?
Well, you're
An
out of luck.
icon.
You're out
I
of
would
luck.
be if I didn't remember. Remember, we just look for the icon in the browser. And if it knows there's a username and password for it, it shows it right there. Also puts an icon, that's a terrible avatar, but the pixelated one, but it puts an icon next to it. So I just go, what do you think I do? I'm not going to tell you. What do I do?
Log in. Click on it.
Click on it! Oh, okay. Oh, look at that! Automatically filled in. I think I took too much caffeine here, sorry. So, logged in. There we go. That's one way. The other way is I go to do it yourself, search for it, or
Oh, it's right there on the side.
.com.
Uh-huh. It's there.
It doesn't matter how you get here. The key to remember is how do you fill in the password. So how do I do it? Click the head and shoulders, click the login, click the button,
Click the icon. Yeah.
click that. So I took 4 streets instead of 1 to downtown, but I still got there. And guess what? It's a super secret, secure password that I don't have to remember. You do this for every website you log into. Make sense?
Does make sense.
It'd be worthwhile to spend a lot of time doing that.
So I said, Mary Frances, it's a wintertime project.
What'd you say your phone number was?
I don't have a local one right now. Actually, I do have a business, but I don't know who asked, but I can give you my number afterwards. I want to post it on the web and stuff, but yes, John, did you?
Yeah. We'll be nice to you and say you only have 400 logins.
Yes.
But those 400 logins you generated yourself over these last number of years.
Yes.
Which means that you're going to have to go to 400 websites and go through their hoops to change the password.
Yep. If you have that many logins. I did when I started. I was using the same password. Well, that's a good point, yeah.
Start with the first 6 you use most often.
Yeah, go with the common ones. Top 10. Do it over time. This isn't an overnight project, believe me. What did I use? I think I started using this app 6 or 7 years ago. And just a few months ago, I learned something that I didn't know it even did. And it made my life easier.
What did you learn?
Can I show you?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you. Does anybody have a website where you have to, you know what? I know one. Security questions. Apple makes you fill them out. And they're pretty easy. So let me go to Apple ID. Maybe it's appleid.apple.com. I'm going to create a new one. Okay. I'm going to try to create a new one. Create your Apple ID. Okay. My name is that, and why do you need my birthday? Okay. We'll say 1900, because you know that sounds like fun. Apple ID test. It's your real email address is what you're using here, but I don't want to give my real. Oh, here we go, password. Now, this is important. So it's telling you what to do, but it's not telling you how long it could be. So 8 or more characters, upper, lowercase, least 1 number. I don't care. I'm going to do this. And look, I've already got some Apple IDs. I'm going to go ahead and generate a password. Oops. Fill. There we go. Something's wrong with it. Probably it's too long. Oh, look at this. Here's a great example of a well-written website, but a terrible security model. So they're telling me it can't be above 32 characters.
So it's a bad website.
And 32 is okay. Most websites don't tell you. They just truncate the end of it and go, okay, we're good. and then you only have 32 and you have to figure it out, but resetting is another thing. Okay, so I have to go in and generate a different type of password. So let me go up here. I've never done it this way. Let's try it. 32 characters. I move the slider over. Different password managers will do it differently. How many digits, how many symbols? Well, you know what, since it's so picky, maybe I should even say only 2 symbols, because who knows if it's going to accept that. So there's one. Let's try this one. Seems to be okay. Okay? Now, since I have security questions, I want to go about this a little different way. Let me do this from the password manager. So here I am. I'm going to create a new password with this plus sign, which is super easy to see right at the bottom. I lose it all the time and I go, where's the new button? I think you can do it from here too, but file, yeah. New item, new login. While we're up here, may as well talk about this. If you have credit cards you want to remember, you can do it in here. I have family members, their social security numbers in here. This is why I picked a really good master password and not something that was something I thought of. I have to take care of some of my family members, and that stuff I don't want to write down. So it's secured in this password manager. But here's all the things you could do. If you manage servers or databases, or I have a passport. Does anybody else have a passport? And you need to remember it. All this stuff is what it can do for you. Even notes that are secured with your master password. When you get started, don't get caught up in all the details. Don't focus on that right away, please. Focus on just the logins. Just do that. So let's start there. But does that make sense? That you just have different options? You can get a burger with cheese or without. Okay. Or you get fries or a hot dog. Anybody hungry yet? Okay, so we're going to do a new login, and this is called Apple ID. I call it whatever I want to call it. Something that my brain will remember. Test account that I want to delete later on. So I'm going to put delete in there, right? Type in my email. I generate a password following Apple's smaller rule set. That's okay. We don't care what it is. And then I put in the website. It's just like filling out those forms we did. We're just doing it in the password manager. And then it says, oh, I need to add security questions. So I'm going to make a whole new section. Security questions. So this is going to be question number 1. And what does Apple want me to put in? Oh, it hasn't told us yet. So, what is the first name of your best friend in high school? What is the first name of your best friend in high school? Okay, so now I'm going to have it create a password. But to make it more fun, let's play with words. I don't need 10, although that would be really secure. You have to think about this for a second. The severity of the password. So this little guide here, this green box, it tells you how good it is. I'm sorry, I pointed at the wrong one. This one right here. So green, really, really green is what you want. As you go down, you'll notice it says, it's okay, but it's not the best. But here's the reality. I'm calling Apple. They ask for my security question. Hey, what's the name of your best friend in high school? And you go, brain, C, icicle, chocolate, peanut butter. You have to say all this to them. Well, that's silly. Make it shorter. So in this case, I'm not going to make it 6 words long. And it's just a security question. I'll go ahead and pick 3 even though it's not recommended. So there's my first one. Question number 2 is whatever. Question number, then the answer to that is, we again generate a password. All I'm doing here is on the right side, I'm clicking the ellipses and changing it from text to what I want it to be. One-time password, I played around with this. It creates a QR code. Do you know what a QR code is? I'm sure you've seen them on stuff. It says, scan this and we'll give you all sorts of free stuff once we sell your private information. You know, that's a QR code. You scan it with your phone's camera. So I don't really use this very often, but all I want to do is password. I can put a phone number in here. You can put any of this information you want in any of these fields however you want. This is why I like 1Password. It's so flexible It says, well, what do you want there? So we'll have it generate another password, and who cares what it is because, oops, I guess I didn't generate it. Who cares what it is because I don't have to remember it. So let's say I'm not going to really create this Apple ID. Let's say we finished with it. Now I need to copy a few things. The password, right? So how do I copy it? And.
Why don't you click on
Oh, why don't I click on copy? Well, nothing happened. It went to the clipboard. Let me go back to the website. We'll put these side by side.
it? Well, where are you going to paste it?
I'm going to paste it in the password field. And I'm going to confirm it in the password field.
Okay.
Pasting, you could do it a few different ways. I know the keystroke for it. A lot of times you can right click and paste. Control V on Windows, Command V on Mac. I assume Linux is Control V as well, maybe something different. However you want to paste it, you can paste it. As a matter of fact, I can even go up in here and say paste. And look at that. It shows me a little shortcut, Command V. So how do I paste it? Well, there's always multiple ways to do it. What's your best friend in high school? Well, let's just look at it for fun again. That's my best friend in high school. Who cares? I don't have to remember this crap. It remembers it for me. So what do? Team, what do? Copy and paste. Continue filling out the form. So you can do it from the password manager. You can do it from the browser. It just depends on the situation. In this situation, I needed some custom fields. I needed security questions. And you could go in and fill out the real answers to this. Best practice? Not a good idea. I bet I could find out if I had enough money, resources, or time, I could find out who your best friend was in high school. Facebook's a pretty good source for that.
I take that literally too. When they say, what was your best friend in high school? That's what I
It was a chocolate cookie monster. That's what I put in, or whatever, But that's what you're supposed to do. Because the point of security questions is, uh-oh, I forgot my password. Now I need access to it. Or, oh, you're logging in you're visiting somewhere else in the world. It says, I don't recognize you. What's your security password? I go to Asia, or I used to quite a bit. And when I go over there, it'd say, are you sure this is you? Yep, it's me. Yep, I still hurt when I bench, okay. But I pick crazy stuff. This is the next step. After you start getting your password set up and you start, first of all, saving. Step one, get your passwords written down in the password manager. Well, maybe step one is find the password manager you like. Step one.
Start with a new one. I just recently joined the Red Cross.
There you go.
Start with the Red Cross.
Start with the new one. And then either write your password down in the manager or start creating new ones. But I would do it with something you frequent. Otherwise, you're going to forget about this and come back to it and say, hey, Kenneth, what was that? What was the password manager called again? What was my password? I don't know. I don't want to know. Don't tell me. Tell your family member if you want to. But all the password managers are very similar. Some of them don't have the Cadillac features or Lexus, whatever you prefer. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have all my passwords in one password, let's just say. And I'm on a computer that's not my computer. But I need to go to a website to show somebody something, and I have to put in my password. How do I get there?
So this is a great question, by the way. This is a situation where when you're creating these passwords, think about, do I ever need to enter this password somewhere where I don't have access to my password manager? That's a great question to ask, because if you do, the rules change a little bit. I'm not saying this is a best practice, I'm just saying this is reality. So we go back to the password manager and we say, every time I go into Apple and they replace my phone, they ask for my Apple ID, and heck no, I'm not going to try to remember a 32-character password with 2 of these and 2 of that. I'm going to go back to that. There's 12 cycles, so I'm just going to pick 12. Because now you have to manually type that in. Be realistic with the length if it's something that you do need. Now that's one answer. Some password managers have web logins. It's not necessarily the most secure. 1Password used to have it, where I went to a website, I logged into the website, and I could copy and paste it. In that case, make your password crazy. Just keep it at 64. Does KeePass do that?
Ken answers that, but LastPass does, and so does Bitwarden.
There you go.
They do? Is that what you said, John?
1Password might, I don't know.
I don't think I understood what you told me to do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So, some of the password managers
I'm there.
allow
I'm on that other
you,
computer.
you're on the other computer. So you
Can
would go
I just type
to
in 1Password?
LastPass.com? Is that how you get to? Okay, I don't think 1Password does it. Because I haven't found this anywhere.
So I would not be able to access
So-
my password manager on another computer.
Not if you're using 1Password, I think. LastPass does it. So we go to LastPass.com. I don't have an account, but you're on a foreign computer. You go to LastPass.com. Your password vault, as they call it, the database, is in here. So at some point, I should have a login. Yeah, here it is. Login. Actually, I do have a. I don't know if this will work anymore. Let's cancel this. I'll save. LastPass. Oh, look at that. Okay. So I do have a login. I just don't know if it's going to work. So bear with me. I played with this a couple years ago, so it'll probably not let me log in.
Okay.
Yeah, so can't do it. Once I log into the vault, it should look like, and I say should because I haven't done it with LastPass, something like this.
Correct.
Where I can copy the password and paste it to that foreign computer.
Okay.
I think
Does that make
LastPass,
sense?
you may be able to just do click and
And
autofill it.
Okay.
Can't say for sure, I dropped it.
So the answer is really, it depends on which password manager you use. If you use one that doesn't do this, which I don't think 1Password does, then that's where you get into that. Well, okay, that's still a valid point. I get to the store to fix my phone and they say, what's your password? First of all, don't give it to them. You type it in. They don't need to know your password. If you make it 64 characters long, again, this is an instance where, well, I have to go in there and type it. God bless you if you want to type 64 random characters in there. I'll see you at lunch because it's going to take a while. But go ahead. But this is a situation where you kind of have to weigh benefits, advantages versus disadvantages. I don't want to sit there all day entering a password. I'm just going to make it still secure, but something that's more manageable for typing. Not the best practice, but possible. Yes, David?
Yeah, right along with this discussion here, I was just wondering, do any of these password managers have a mobile app that would let you go ahead and find your password
Yes.
if you're not at your computer, you're somewhere else using the computer?
But you'd still have to type it in.
Yeah, I guess that's.
The ones I've showed you, okay, wait. LastPass, 1Password, NPass, those three, they all have mobile apps on Android and iOS. So, I'm on my iPad. I just did this with you when we got here. Then I went to the Columbus Metropolitan Library and it says, oh, I need you to log in. What's your password? And I said, I don't know. So I opened up LastPass. Here's the beautiful part about fingerprint access. I know you can't see it very well. I'm going to pass this around. Just don't drop it. This is a very expensive iPad. I can't afford another one. But pass that around. All I have to do is either enter the master password here or my fingerprint. Fingerprint times out.
Oh, so you got a fingerprint on it.
Yep. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Don't type.
Just let me see it. I don't want to have
Copy, paste. Copy,
I
paste.
see.
So, keyboard shortcuts to remember. Control-C for copy. Control-V for paste. V as in Victor. Or Command on the Mac. Control-C, Control-V. If you memorize those two things, it'll save you a lot of time with your password manager. Does anybody else want to see it? If you have a tablet with you, maybe not all at once, or a phone, go look for the password manager in here and just download it.
Obviously, you think fingerprints are secure.
No, I don't. They're not. They're actually easily forgeable. So is the Face ID thing, even though Apple claims to have this great process for, no. Fingerprints are not. Absolutely
We
not.
use fingerprints in our city schools. I can't count the number of times mine won't work and I'll go, put your finger on there.
Yep. and it works.
Mhm.
Fingerprints are not secure. Passwords are, well, really, passwords are not the most secure. There's other things, we won't get into that, but no, they're not secure. I took this is a benefit. I can do this instead of this. So I chose that decision, which it will time out, but if you pick this up and your fingerprint is the same as mine, well, have at it.
Or close your mouth.
Yeah,
I mean,
why not?
it's really not that close. I mean, I could pick him, I could pick him. It makes no difference. And then we'll let it in. It's close.
Well, they don't actually do the real fingerprint. It's a mathematical equivalent.
Yeah, they pick.
It's not an actual picture, exactly. It's a mathematical formula, and it says, it's close enough. 2 plus 2 equals 5, okay. 2 plus 2 equals 6, maybe. 7, nope, 7 doesn't work. But 5 and 6 work, and 3 works. It's not exactly right, but it's close.
Yeah, no, I see them put little points on there and go, no, this is.
What if you don't have anything?
Right, again, I'm like,
Mine's
this
small.
is.
Yes, that's the right one. I swear I haven't changed my fingers. Promise.
When I have to do that.
What happens when you get so old, you don't have any of those ridges anymore?
Well, yeah.
It happens.
Well, that's when you have to remember or write down your password, right? Yeah, it's 4 o'clock now. Any other 4:18? Wow.
Well,
Any other questions?
I really enjoyed this.
Okay, good.